Hello, everybody. Welcome to All Villa and No Filler. Please remember to like and subscribe, and please vote for us as the best podcast Premier League in the Football Content Awards on their website. I'll put the link again as the pinned comment on YouTube and on audio channels as well. Aston Villa nil, Manchester United nil. That was so boring that I almost forgot whether I was alive or not. I sort of there came a moment where I was like, am I living, breathing animate object, or am I just a sort of a rock lying there in the cold desert where nothing happens? It's warm in the day and it's cold at night. Maybe I'll see a lizard once every billion years. Um, yeah, that was really boring. It looked like two teams who played intense midweek games. Aston Villa obviously beat Bayern Munich 1-0 with an incredible hard-fought victory. A lot of players injured as well. Manchester United 3-3 away at Porto on Thursday night. So it just looked like a game where two teams who played midweek and couldn't really rouse themselves for this weekend. I think in the first half, it was just kind of, I'd say 50-50 maybe. Man United were quite compact in the middle, so they were trying to not leave the sort of gaps that they had been leaving in previous weeks. Villa, there was a few moments towards the start of the game where Villa were playing through the middle quite nicely. The Morgan Rogers shot in the first 10 minutes was Rogers linking up with Watkins and all that, and that all came down the middle. But overall, you tend to have Rashford coming inside and making it tight and compact. I think there were times we could have got it out to Leon Bailey a bit quicker, getting one-on-one with Diego Dallo. But overall, second half, I think Villa. I mean, to be quite frank, Man United looked absolutely there for the taking. Looked there to be beaten 2-3-0, really. I think if Villa had fully fit team, maybe hadn't played midweek, I think we'd have probably got the business done today. I think we just looked just hungover, really. Um, and the injury crisis can't help. I think in the first half it did look like we were missing the kind of muscularity of Onana and Ramsey and players like that to run a bit more direct and impose their physical presence on the game. And in the second half, it turned more into a Barkley game, didn't it? Where Ross Barkley was able to take control of the ball, able to get it forward. But I think it just felt like every time we get to the final third, we'd just make the wrong pass, or we'd just like the ball the first touch would be wrong, or there'd be no dynamism. I mean, it really was. I think Ian Maatsen should have come on about 10 minutes earlier, because I think we did start to look a bit more dynamic down the left when he was on. It was a little bit more on the floor rather than just crossing it in all the time to Man United's 6'10" Frankenstein defenders. But eventually towards the end of the game, we work it nicely down the Villa left back post, and I think Philogene probably it's a harder finish than it looks. I still think he probably should have scored it. That was the big chance for Villa. United hit the crossbar, and there's barely anything to say really. Just two teams who were hungover, had the best night out of their lives, and then gone out for a pint a few days later, at a low rent pub somewhere, and the beer's flat, and they've gone back to the bar and said, "Hey, mate, why is the beer flat? Can you pour it again?" Got the beer back, and they're like, "Oh, this is flat again. What the hell is this all about?" Bloody, I don't know. Just flat beer of a game, wasn't it? And you could hear Carragher and commentary. Well, just put us out on misery, and yeah, it wasn't great. I mean, look, we're a point up from last season against Man United. We lost at home to them. I'm frustrated we didn't win this, because I think they were just absolutely there to be beaten. I think Aston Villa look like a team who are still, we're probably going to have to take a bit of adaptation to these really intense midweek games in the Champions League against real top opposition like Bayern Munich. And how that's going to affect us going into weekend games is, that's something we're going to have to adapt to. The injury crisis, though, it's just, I would love a day where I can look at Aston Villa and say, we have our best 11 out. I don't think I've been able to say that for close to a year and a half, maybe longer. Jacob Ramsey, groin strain. Matty Cash did his hamstring. He's out, comes back. Day he comes back, what happens? Ezri Konsa looks like he maybe did his hamstring, though. I was wondering whether it might be a dead leg as well, just the way he was caught by the United player. John McGinn's hamstring, he's out as well. So we've gone from ACL FC to hamstring FC. Game volume, in Man United's defence as well. They had numerous injuries today as well. Game volume. Professional footballers, are they playing too much football? And if they're playing too much football, what kind of impact is that having on the standard of the game? But also, how hard did it make it for teams like a Villa to continuously compete every single year in the Champions League and the Premier League if we can't spend the way that teams like Manchester City and Chelsea can because of PSR reasons, because they can expand their squads, therefore they're able to cope with injury crises in a way that Aston Villa, we just can't to the same level. If Konsa's out now for, let's say, 2 months, like McGinn, I'm not saying he will be. I haven't got a clue. But worst case scenario, if he was, what do we do then? You got Carlos and Pau Torres, and then who's beyond that really to come in at centre back? It's it's just really frustrating. The injury problem, really, really frustrating. But look, I think Villa should have. I wish we'd been able to go for it a bit harder today. Just a few decisions I think we made today that were frustrating, and I think we're better than what we showed. But look, it did look like a game ultimately that was between two teams who had a midweek hangover, and you hear it all the time from professional footballers, from managers, coaches, pundits as well, who all say that Thursday to the weekend or Wednesday to the weekend is always quite difficult, and it was. And on another point, second week in a row where Villa should have been playing against 10 men. Sam Morsey should have been sent off for Ipswich for 2 bookable offences. Don't know how he stayed on the pitch. This week, Marcus Rashford should have gone off. That tackle on Leon Bailey so soon after he got his yellow. It was cynical, blatant yellow. Should have been 2 yellows and a red. Off he goes, and we're playing against 10 men. But even if we've been playing against 10 men, do I believe that the Villa of today, this is the team that played for today, would have got the job done? I'm not convinced. We just didn't look mentally, sharp, I think is how I'll put it. So there we go. Look, hey, it's a draw. It's not the end of the world. You draw with Man United at home. Yes, I think we should have won it. I think they were there for the taking, but look, it's a draw, whatever. It's a clean sheet as well. We haven't had many of those, have we? We haven't had any of them in the Premier League. So our first clean sheet of the season. There's your positive. Anyway, midweekend, got a break now, annoyingly. These international breaks are yet another example of players playing too much football, the intensity of the travel. I'm kind of sick to death of these international breaks, and there's yet another one coming in November. But here we go again. So 2 weeks off. I'll put out a fair bit of content in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, Aston Villa, we go again. What a week it's been. Beating Bayern Munich. We push on, get another result in the Premier League, and let's go get that win. Up the mighty Villa.